Hello friends. I use an app called All Trails when I hike. I like this app because I can search for trails in the location I'm interested in and then research them for their length, their difficulty, and I can read comments left by previous hikers for bits of wisdom such as, should I bring my hiking poles on this particular trail? Another thing I like about this app is it will track me in real time on the trail. So I've been known to walk down a trail holding my phone and looking at the app, just taking off down a trail to make sure I'm on the right one, especially if it's come to an intersection. The other thing you can do is download the map ahead of time in case I don't have cell coverage. And so I've got the map with me at all times. And today's post comes to you from All Trails. Just kidding. But I'm Dr. Renee Harmon. I'm the author of Surfing the Waves of Alzheimer's, a teaching memoir about my husband Harvey and his time with younger onset Alzheimer's disease. Well, last week I was on vacation in the North Carolina mountains, and I was driving the Blue Ridge Parkway, and I looked for promising trails using All Trails along the Blue Ridge Parkway. And I decided I wanted to hike a trail off of a popular stop called Devil's Courthouse. So I first hiked up the very steep paved pathway to the Devil's Courthouse and had some beautiful, fabulous views of the valleys, almost 360 degrees. And then I took off down the trail that I had found on All Trails. And it was a lollipop trail, meaning you hike a straight way and then you come to a fork and it makes a loop at that point. So following the map, I took off to the right to start the loop portion. And the trail eventually just kind of gave out, or I couldn't find it, or I was just lost. So I pulled out the All Trails app and tried to match my own location to the trail, just stomping around through this forest. And this was in one of my favorite kind of forests to hike in, just a deep, dark evergreen forest. And the trails in this kind of forest are really nice to hike on because they're carpeted in pine needles and makes a very soft, cushiony kind of trail. But in the forest itself, on the forest floor, there are just layers of these needles and dead and decaying logs and woods. There's really not underbrush, but just this deep, crunchy layer that I was just thrashing around in, trying to find a trail that I don't think existed because I never found it. Well, I eventually gave up and made my way using this All Trails app back to the starting point and took a very lovely trail through the woods, knowing that I was going to pick up the loop at the back end of it. All right, so I got to the back end of it, started down that back end loop section, and again, the trail just petered out. And again, I stomped around trying to maintain my way on the path that I thought I was supposed to be on. And again, I gave up, turned back around, made my way back down to the very well-maintained trail, and made my way back. And that so much reminded me of my early caregiving attempts. I was going to do it myself. I was going to be very good at it because I knew my husband. I thought I knew Alzheimer's disease. I got some information from the internet and from some books, but I was going to figure it out and do it my way, and I was going to be really good at it, right? So an incident comes to mind where one day Harvey came to me with a ball of poop in his hand, and I knew what to do. You don't hold nasty poop in your hand. So I grabbed him by the wrist and got him to drop it into the toilet. And then when I went to help him wash his hands, he was having none of it. He really began fighting me, and he grabbed me by the wrist that was already holding his, essentially locking us together. Now, he was much stronger than I, and I knew this was not going to get anywhere, so I gave up and went back to my room and got calm in order to come up with a new approach. How often in caregiving and in life do we feel like we can do it ourselves, just forging blindly ahead, when what we really need to do, and we learn to stop, take a breath, and go back from a place where we're sure we understand what's happening. Thank you. Be well and keep your balance.